So this is all Ottoman art. But this writing, Arabic, right? It's a holy language. It's a spell language, right? It's alive, which is why the Quran can only be written in Arabic. And I mean, if you have been anywhere in the Middle East like I've been, this kind of like is all over the mosques. You know, they use geometry and the way they write the symbols. You know, they cannot, you know, have pictures of Muhammad in their churches like our mosque. So what they do is they use geometry instead of versus when you go to a Catholic church or, you know, you go in a mosque, it's going to be filled with geometry, script, and their ability to, you know, paint and carve this stuff is just next level. Like, you'll not see this kind of like geometry in, you know, Catholic or in Jewish temples, right? They are the masters of geometry. Right, like here's an example. You know, and you have a master craftsman doing this kind of work. And imagine how long this took to actually do, right? It's not something that was done by machine. This is all hand done with hand tools. You know, and during the Middle Ages, the Middle East was where all the learning went on, right? Where mathematics, algebra was really being pushed forward. The occult was alive back then, the study of the occult, astronomy. You know, most people don't realize it, but Islam and the occult have a huge connection to each other because all of the great Muslim mathematicians were also astrologers and astronomy, right? They were charting the stars, right? And as part of that, you know, that was all occulted philosophy, right? Now today, if they, you know, most people think astrology is just hocus pocus nonsense, but it's a science, right? And the people back then that were doing this kind of work, who were brilliant mathematicians, could do math way better than I do. You know, they were not fools who were just into some sort of, you know, nonsensical magic, right? Like, it was a science they were studying. And while all of Europe was in the Dark Ages, they were advancing science and knowledge. The stars, mathematics, Pythagoras, right? Once again, look at the blue in that vase. You know, the Middle Ages at this time, they weren't making anything like that glazed. Which I'm guessing it was probably egg yolk mixed with that. Because that's what it was originally, that's how they originally would get that kind of a finish on a painting back in those days. Just like if you take an egg and leave it, like crack it open and leave the yolk on your counter and it hardens. If you mix that in with pigments and oils, you know, in the Renaissance, that's what they were using on art, right? So they weren't the pastel colors that they had been in all the older, if you go back and look at like medieval art, it's got like a pastel kind of feel to it, right? But when you get to the Renaissance, there's a complete change, right? There's a shine to the pictures. It's because they figured out that egg yolk mixed with, you know, pigment created that kind of like sheen, that shine. And I'm guessing, you know, of course this would have been baked, obviously, in a furnace to get that kind of to pop, right? I got a nice, beautiful oriental rug in my house like this. Obviously not like this, but red, same color. And they're great to stare at, right? So here we have the black cube, right? And what's inside of here? This is Mecca. Now, if you type in the computer, Cassini spacecraft Saturn, you will see at the top of Saturn, there is a hexagram and a cube. There's a hurricane that is as large as the United States that forms a constant cube. On the underside is a giant eye. So on the North Pole, you have the cube, and on the South, you have an eye, right? And that's where all the main religions, they worship a cube. What is a cube? It's a cross. If you open this up, if you fold this back, this would be the wing. This is the head. This one on the back, open it. Then you drop this one to the side, it's the arm. This one to the arm, and then these two down, you get the cross. And the people who worship Islam, what do? They go around the cube like this in a clockwise circle, just like the hurricane or the cyclone that is occurring on Saturn. And if you look at the book called The Saturn Myth by David Talbot, he's one of the founders of the electrical universe theory. You will see why that is, and it's because Saturn was once at our North Pole and it was visible. So there's a time that instead of the sun, Saturn, Mars, and Venus were the things that illuminated our planet, right? And that's why all three religions, if you're Jewish, you will see that they'll put this on their head. They'll put a box on their forehead, black square box. The cross is the Christian version. And then here, this is a meteorite inside here. The black cube, which is why you see cubes all over the place. The other thing is, what is a cube? A cube is, they say a circle can't fit in a square can't fit where a circle would be. That's not right, because every angle is 90 degrees, 180. You get 360 degrees. That's what a cube is. A cube and a circle mathematically are the same thing. And a circle is a representation of God, because that's hermetics. When you hear of the Hermetic principle, that's what the circle is. The letter O, the circle, it's God, because it's a self-contained system. Everything within the circle is the creator. Everything outside of it does not exist, which is why the letter O is in the word God. Now, if you study etymology, and you go back and look at what O means, going all the way back into Egyptian times, into the Jewish religion, right? You're going to find all of this stuff out. And why haven't you been taught this in school? Because words are used against you every moment of the day to control your mind, to make you docile, to make you politically obedient, but most importantly, to sell you products. Every sort of media does nothing but sell products to you. They use symbols of the occult for all of their logos, and those logos then compel you to purchase their product, right? You know, everything from Oreos, and Oreo has the double cross on it, which is the sign of the Knights Templars. Same thing with Exxon. Every single car company uses a circle. Mazda is the name of God, Ahura Mazda. And I could go on and on and on, but you get the point. Almost looks like the aliens that the Mexicans are showing, right? Interestingly enough. Is it elongated? No, but if you haven't seen, look up on the news. Mexico has 2 alien bodies that are 1,000 years old that look a lot like that.